Hello, everybody. Good to see you today. I'm Doug. This is What Spun Around. This is not Tuesday. You don't have to check your calendar. I'll tell you right up. This is Monday. I have to work tomorrow, so could not do my live on Tuesday. Paul is doing a demo and could not get home in time for this time slot, so I just thought I'll jump right in. And so that's what I've done. With me today are the usual suspects. We've got the Queen of Turning, Miss Ruby Claire. We've got the Wood Wizard, Mr. Wayne Clasper. And we got
Good
Todd.
evening.
Hey, Todd.
Just Todd. That's all we
Just
need.
Todd. So these guys are going to be in the background helping us out today, reading your questions, responding, sharing things to me for me to respond to, whatever it takes. So I'm going to put you guys in the background for right now and share with these fine folks what we're going to do today. Um, Back when Hurricane Helene hit, and we know it came up through Georgia, hit Tennessee, hit Kentucky, went on north and east from there. Most of the damage was in eastern Tennessee, um, eastern Kentucky, some in western North Carolina as well. I about left them out. Um, a fellow on Worldwide Woodturners who lives in eastern North Carolina had a friend in western North Carolina who had trees down in his yard. This is a piece of one of those trees. This is a piece of oak. It's 10 and a half, 11 inches in diameter, depending on where you measure it. And it's anywhere from an inch thick there to, what do I say, Ruby, 4 or 5 inches or something
Well,
there.
Right.
It's the outside of the log. So I've got a hole drilled to get us started. I'm going to make this side the bottom. No, this side will be the top, but I've got to turn something so that I can come back around here, get my bottom ready, and then we can come back and turn the top. So, with that being said, I'm going to get this on the lathe and get started, and somebody's going to read out the chat. We'll let them fight it out. There we go.
well, I'll give you a clue. It's going to be one of us three. So we have the wood butcher up there. We have Lawrence, Ruby, Michael McEwen, Paul Norfolk Hunter. Goodness, we're scrolling. Oh my goodness, it just updated. Uh, did I miss somebody before that? Roger Kent. Let's see, he's in here. TF Turning. I don't remember seeing TF Turning.
Mike Evans.
Okay. Yeah, the Vineyard Farmhouse
Rand?
is in. Yeah, Albert Dawson, one of the Wild
Evening,
Wood
all.
Tournament guys.
There you go.
Lawrence Aldridge. Let's see, Anthony Green, Todd at Glen Cove Woodworks. So we got to have a Todd in here. We need 4 or 5 by the end of this. We'll get that going.
Tim Ponder.
I see Tim. Yeah. Old Man River.
Dale.
Hi, Dale.
And that takes me to the bottom already.
All right.
So I'm surprised. That's a lot of people over here for probably almost no notice.
Yeah, well, I said something yesterday that some of them saw that I might very well come in, so I had to check and see if anybody could join me, and I got an immediate response from Wayne and Ruby, and
It's actually strange when you put things like that in the community thing on YouTube. It doesn't actually show up for a hell of a lot of people.
that's true. That's true. You have to be subscribed to my channel for community stuff to show up, which is
Yeah,
Lucy.
Hi, Lucy. Glad you made it.
sweet potato. All right, here we go. We're running fairly well. Let me see if I can get any more speed out of it.
From here, it looks like you're rocking back and forth pretty good.
Yeah, I was at okay, there's 230, 280, 330, and that's about as fast as I can go for right now. It won't take long. I'll be able to get it balanced a little better.
Anymore for roughing out bottoms like that, I tend to use my carbide rougher.
Mm-hmm.
I do too. I go straight in from the side.
No, I don't go in from the side.
I
I
just
still go in the same way Doug's going because of the grain direction.
Right. And I probably would go ahead and pull that out, except all of my carbides are out in the car where I had a demo Saturday, and I have not brought those in.
Well, do you
But,
want me to run down and get one of mine for you to use?
oh, sure, that'll work.
so what approach you take there, Ruby? I see what Doug is doing. That's pretty common.
Right where his tool is now, I would push straight in, and then I would do steps moving along to the right towards center.
Clint of Wood Dancers have just come in. Good evening, Clint. And
Hi,
Scott's just come in as well.
Scott Hampton.
Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Scott. Well, welcome along, all of you. I'm glad all of you are here today. Was telling Wayne and Ruby earlier, I got a new face shield dust mask combination that I'm anxious to try out, but I don't think I can use it in live. I'll have to play with my microphone to see if I can find a place where it will work. All right, this is coming along fairly well. I don't think I can speed up just yet.
I'm surprised you don't bring your tailstock up.
As long as the chuck's holding.
Yep. I just hate running after pieces of wood. That's what happens when you get old, Wayne. When you catch up to me, you'll know.
I think about the only time I bring the tailstock up is if it's real deep.
All right. Yeah, it's interesting. I recently had or saw somebody else that has the same philosophy on starting a rough piece of wood that I have. Instead of making it round, where
Now,
am I? There I am. Instead of making it round, going straight across and flat across the bottom, I started and come from across the corner.
Yeah, I
now,
did.
Doug, did you say you were going to put either a mortise or a tenon on this bottom piece to make that the bottom? Or
Yes,
turn it around and make the other side the bottom? Because you're starting to put some shape into that, and you're probably going to lose.
You're exactly right. This was going to be the top, but let's just go with what was started. Let's make this the bottom. No problem.
Okay.
Not a problem. Forgot what I was doing, but that's okay.
That's okay, Doug. You're allowed to be human with this crew.
I've never done that before, you know.
Will it be a natural edge?
Yes.
It will now, yeah.
At very minimum, it'll be live edge or a natural edge, but it may be a live edge.
I'm not overly concerned about whether the bark stays on or whether the bark comes off. I still call it a natural edge, whatever.
I agree.
Yeah,
Ronald Todd said, hello, everyone. Caught me off guard. I thought it was Monday. Yes, Ronald, it is.
You're exactly right.
I don't know what's going to happen to my week now. This is going to knock my week totally off.
Yeah, it'll never be the same.
Mine too.
May mess mine up.
It was like when I did the live last Wednesday. I got up on Thursday and thought it was Sunday.
Oh dear.
Wow, there's something in there bouncing me around pretty good. Oh, I'm
Now,
stuck at that spot there.
now the
Not
angry
there.
wood the angry wood turner says he likes to start between centers, and that way he can adjust if it needs it as he goes along.
Right.
There's a lot of different ways you could start this all the way
Ab-
along.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I often start between centers. I had a plan and immediately forgot my plan. So, oh well.
And we weren't paying attention, and Wayne was too slow to stop you.
Oh, it
That's
doesn't matter.
that's me age, Todd. I'm always
Oh,
slow.
well, there we go. You know,
But
talking about between centers, Colin Way was at SWAT last year, and it seems like I remember him saying he starts everything between centers also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the same as Emma, the tiny turner. She tends
Yeah.
to start off everything between centers as well.
depends on how you were taught and what
Yeah.
you practice at home.
I remember one of those guys in the early days of my turning who talked about always between centers to start because as soon as you put a screw in or drill a hole in a piece of wood, you're stuck.
Yeah, you're
In fact,
committed.
yeah, Lyle Jameson used to say something similar to that. Was it Lyle Jameson? Um, may not have been him, but one of those guys used to talk about you're stuck once you drill into it or stick a screw in it. You're pretty well committed, and
If
they're
you
right.
come if you come in from the left side, you can figure out where you're headed to
Mm-hmm.
and save some of the bark coming off.
You're exactly right. And yeah, you don't have the tendency to knock the bark off. You come in that way.
Yep. Looks like a nice piece though, I have to say.
I think it will be a nice piece of oak. The other one that I don't know if they were connected at all or not, uh, but the other one was a turned out to be a very pretty piece of wood. Ah, come on. There we go. Just want to get this top corner off. I think I'll make it a live. If I can, I'll make it a live closed form bowl.
Scott Hampton saying starting between centers on a natural edge bowl allows you to adjust the rim so the high areas and low areas are even. And I was sitting here thinking that myself as that conversation went. When you stopped, you have that one side that's really low
Yes.
and the other side that's high.
I
And
I tend to on
At the
purpose
same time,
put them at different heights.
Yeah, so do I, Ruby, to tell you the
yeah,
truth, when I'm
that's what
doing
I was going to say. I'm
a
not too
natural edge.
concerned. I'm not too concerned with them being even. I know some people are, and that's fine. That's not a bad way of going about it.
And Paul is
Um,
asking you, Doug, how's the new job going?
the new job is going pretty well. I've completed all the training, and so they pretty well tell me where they want me to work, and that's the end of a boss being in my face for the rest of the day, which is kind of nice.
Yes.
We've had like 3 out of the last 5 days of just total rain here in the Dallas area, so I was thinking
Mhm.
about you and your job myself.
Well, rain doesn't bother my job. I'm inside, so it's not too bad. Um, just before the big rain, we had a big storm Saturday while I was working. Was it
Mhm.
Saturday? Friday. I was working Friday. And a big storm came. We had a store full of people, a school group that had come, and they had left just before the rain came. And so the store got real quiet, and then the storm hit, and there were people outside that came flooding back in, and that was all fine. They weren't nearly as loud as all those kids were. But it all works out. It all works out. Just trying to get the curve here nice and even.
I'll be back in a minute or two.
All right, sir. A little lump that you might be able to see right in that area that I'm working on. That's getting better.
Yeah, I was looking forward to doing some yard work this week, but in the mornings it's close to freezing, and then we've been getting tons of rain.
Yes. Welcome to springtime, right?
Now, there's a question as to exactly what your part-time job is.
My part-time job is I'm at the Ark Encounter, which is a life-size replica of the biblical Ark, Noah's Ark, and I work in the retail portion of the organization. So I take care, not take care of. I work in the gift shops, and we have basically 3 gift shops and a resource center that I work in all three of the, or yeah, all three of those areas.
I was on mute earlier, but I was laughing and commented about what your comment of the kids flooding in at the
Oh,
Ark Encounter.
yes.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was a homeschool group, about 400 of them.
Wow.
So it's yeah, a whole bunch of homeschoolers they're all in one organization, and from time to time they do field trips and things like that together. Um, one of the things those groups like to do is those big group type of outings, so that the kids get some socialization, and so that's what they were doing.
I I like the idea of homeschooling when they include socialization and external external teaching, like
Right,
music and good sports leagues and
right.
whatnot. It rounds out really nice.
Here, um, it's not the easiest thing to do, but the kids can play in sports with the public schools. Um,
Sorry to interrupt you on this, Doug. Have you got a bit of ring shake on that, as well as the cracks that go top to bottom? Just where the sapwood is meeting the hardwood. Go around a little bit more. Just there. Just
Yeah,
there, right?
here,
yeah.
Yeah.
no, that's a dark line in the
Oh,
grain.
it's just a dark line. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah, there it is on that side too.
Yeah. Sorry
But
to
yeah,
interrupt on that.
no, you're fine. You're fine. That is just grain. While we're stopped there, let's get a little bit of Parfex 3408. We're going to go ahead and drizzle these cracks.
Now, what I tend to do when I'm using super glue is I tend to spray on some sand and sealer first,
Yes.
and
yes.
that actually stops the super glue marking the wood.
Yes, I do
Or
the
in some
exact same
cases, it
thing.
does.
Right, right. Um, I've got to make a couple more cuts here, so I'm not so worried about it. I typically do the same thing. Some quick sanding sealer, and it helps a considerable amount, really.
Not
And
not trying to fly a commercial out there, but that Hampshire Sheen sanding sealer, when you spray it on, it flashes off and dries so fast that it seems to be pretty pretty effective at that.
It is.
Absolutely, absolutely.
and Gav Sedai has joined us.
Hey,
Hi,
Gav,
Gav.
good to see you today.
Glad you figured out what day of the week it is, Gav.
Tuesday all day, right? Oh me. Nah,
Absolutely.
I am going to spray that with a little activator just to hurry it along just a little bit.
Well, it also helps keep your glasses from getting spots.
Yeah,
That's true.
Won't tell you how I know about that.
right. I just got new lenses in my glasses, partly because I had CA on them, but I do have my face shield on. All right. Because I pulled that out of the, yeah, it's, even though I turned it down and sprayed activator, I felt a couple of sprays there. I pulled it out of the chuck, so I'm a little, not quite. Let me see if I can't center that up a little better.
Yeah, and Todd's just said, you know the storm is close when you see the lightning and hear the thunder at the same time. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Any better? Nope. That needs
So,
to
Gav,
go.
have you tried out your new 3/8 beading parting tool yet?
That's a little better, not much, but a little. Oh, yeah. There we go. Once I get this tenon squared away, we can turn it around. I should be able to get a little more speed going.
Right.
And
Paul Finley's just come in and he's
Hey,
saying,
Paul.
hi everyone, good man Doug, not long home and tired.
I bet.
and Mike Sam
bet.
has joined us as well. Hi, Mike.
Evening,
Hey,
Mike.
Mike. Good to see you.
Ruby, I'm glad you asked about someone's new tool, because back, oh my goodness, back in December, I bought two little round 10 millimeter by 200 millimeter long high-speed steel rods, so I could make some of those 3-edge point tools.
The pyramid tools.
Yeah, one for me and one for my brother. And I finally decided I would do that today. So I was out there turning the handle for the first one, and I can only find one piece of it. And I thought I was going crazy. Did I order just one of those and not two? Because I was sure I ordered two of them. So I looked in my shopping cart history, and I did order two of them. Now I've got to go into the abyss and figure out what I did with the other one.
Oh, mercy.
You're-
Yes, yes.
And
Welcome to our world.
Jamie's just come in. Good evening, Jamie.
JP
How you
in the
doing,
house.
JP?
Hi, nephew Jamie.
I tell you what, that guy, Jamie, he's got that many aunties around the country and probably around the world.
Yep. I'm just the Canadian one.
There we go. That ought to work pretty well for the tenant.
Well, Jane is another auntie. My sister Paula is another auntie.
Yeah.
Well, Wayne, that means we're related.
Everybody is.
That's all right.
Heather's in.
Yes, Heather, this is Tuesday. You probably had your weeks wrong.
Yeah, but see what I was saying, Doug? Not everybody gets the community notifications, even if they subscribe.
Right. Yeah, the community pages are a little helter-skelter with YouTube.
And Haley's just come in as well. Good evening, Haley. I was
Hi,
just
Haley.
about to message you and tell you that Doug was on.
Yeah, one of those things. This week is pretty amazing how everything has worked out.
Well, I can't complain because the refrigerator repairman showed up this morning and it only cost me $150 to repair my refrigerator,
Oh, dear
Okay.
me.
whereas a new one would be close to $1,000.
Right? Oh, mercy. Ours was out. The stove was not working exactly right, neither was the dishwasher. So my wife decides she's going to order a match set, get everything at once. And so, yeah.
Now I know. Now I know why you had to go back to work.
Yes, you're exactly right.
Sounds like my wife, Doug.
Well, yeah. Well, we got thinking about it after she made that decision that that's what was going to happen. And the refrigerator was one that had been put in here into this house secondhand before we got here. So it wasn't new by any means. The stove was just plain out old, as was the dishwasher. And it was starting to leak. So, everything needed to be replaced, plain and simple.
So Dale said his new stove cost him over $800 in January. Now, the last time I needed a new, what we call cooker, I've got a range cooker. Dale from Maple Trees had decided to get rid of his, which he'd only had for a year. So he said, "Do you want it?" I said, "Yeah, of course I do, because the old one got flooded. All the electrics went and everything."
Yeah.
So I was gifted an all-electric range cooker.
There you go.
Great.
Mike has said, "I just got a friend request from a dude called Jack Shack. I always check the profile, and the first picture he has is a woman in a room full of roses saying, 'Oh no, he bought another lathe.'"
That sounds like my kind of guy.
I keep telling these guys, you teach your wife how to turn, and then instead of complaining about what you buy, she'll be telling you what to buy.
Yeah. My wife says, I wouldn't mind learning to turn, but I can't stand being in your shop. It's such a mess.
Well, send her up to visit me for a week, okay?
I'll tell you what, at the end of this, or I might take a photo and put it on social media. I can show you Jane's craft station, which is in the living room where I am now.
She's still doing the beaded stuff.
Yeah, she's still got all the jewelry stuff. But I mean, it is there must be, I don't know, probably about 10 grand's worth of stuff sitting over there.
Okay.
That
All right.
sounds like my art room upstairs.
Just created a bit of a foot there. What is that? I'm feeling that. A little chip out area. That's the only issue with oak. Sometimes you get little chippy areas. Let's see. I think. Nope, that's not the tool. Here's the tool right here.
And Lucy has said we had to buy a new carpet for what will be our bedroom yesterday. The current one has been eaten by carpet moth. We don't have carpets,
No.
Lucy. The second time we got flooded, the first time we got flooded, we replaced the carpet. The second time we got flooded, we binned all the carpets and our house is tiled throughout.
I tried to get rid of all the carpet to cut down on the allergies, and I think it's helped a lot.
Yeah. My wife wants to get rid of our carpet. We've got 2 cats. Enough said.
And the
The
small
small
wood.
go on, Ruby, sorry.
Yeah, the small woodlot has joined us. Welcome.
Well, I am not having much success.
What Doug is turning is a piece of oak from Hurricane Helene.
I think we're okay now on that foot. Yes, just coming out of the foot. We got to straighten it up a little bit.
Have you got a center point marked on the tenon, Doug, so you can take
Not
it
yet.
off?
I will. I will. Much better.
Like Wayne.
Like that right there?
Yep.
Yep. That's what it takes. And that's as Wayne started to say, that's one of those in case of kind of things. You don't always need it, but if you don't, you'll wish you had. Just put a little center point there so when we come back around, we can center it up without any problems whatsoever.
It's going to be a pretty piece.
It is still quite heavy.
I like what you did with that little beaded foot. That's cute.
Well, I've tell you what, Todd. That's one of those things I'd heard Martin Saban Smith say a couple of times. It's not finished until you've got a foot on it. There are some other folks who really like to put a foot on whatever they're turning, and I don't know. I've just kind of gotten where I like it, and so I tend to put some kind of a foot. It may not be a real pronounced foot, but just something to say this is the end of the piece, and it's this is the part that sits on the table. And it also says it's not growing out of the table. Let's see. It's not.
Like 6-8 years ago or something, I don't remember when it was. Ashley Harwood was at SWAT, and she did a demo which was 80% slides talking about foot designs and carrying the shape of a bowl through the underside of where the foot is and stuff. And
Right.
really, really interesting. Changed my whole outlook, because I used to, almost never have a foot on a bowl. I would just sort of round it over and maybe concave the bottom a little, and there it was. And it really, really changed my outlook on that.
Yes. And
And
then
then
once you start doing it, it's like almost an automatic thing. You don't even think about it.
like
Interesting.
2 years ago, the Scott Hampton that's in the chat, he was demoing at SWAT, and he was creating little features just to the inside of his foot and then using texture on those. And I was like, well, holy cow, that's a whole nother level of the foot and the bottom of a bowl too. It just like changed the way I looked at them.
Now, there
I
are
was
still some
told,
pieces. There's pieces like the vase Wayne does so much of that be turned either direction. That vase style to me says no need for a foot.
Yeah.
But then there are others that need a foot.
I was always taught that the bottom of your bowl should look as good as the top.
Now, LJ Woodworks has just come in. He's at work, but he's just stopping by to say hi.
Howdy do.
Hi, LJ.
I thought that foot fetish thing was just between me and my wife. Apologize.
Yeah, well, it's out in the open now.
All right. Because this is a interrupted surface, we'll just lock the spindle down and do some sanding. Oh, except I'm hung up. There we go.
While I'm watching this in earworm, and I'm also watching I've just finished watching the final of the World Snooker Championships, and for the first time ever, a Chinese guy has won it.
Oh, really?
Oh my.
Yep. And I've got to say, throughout the tournament, he has been absolutely exceptional.
Happy.
Now, LJ is asking if the kid liked the top you made him on Saturday. I don't know who he's referring to.
I think that's to Doug, because Doug was doing
Yeah.
an
did tops
easy
in my
wood tool,
demo.
an easy wood tools demo on Saturday.
I had yeah. Hold on. Just
Haley, he beat Michael Williams, the Welsh guy.
yeah, Saturday I did a easy wood demo and I did tops. I did a plate to begin with, about a 4-inch plate out of a piece of 1x pine. Amazed a couple of people that it can be done at all, much less with carbides. And then I turned tops. And while I was turning my first one, I guess it was, a young fella about 7 years old comes in with his dad, and so I'm about 3/4 of the way done with it, and I said, "What's your favorite color?" He spits out red. So I finished up. I painted it red. I parted it off, and I gave it to him. And you'd have thought I'd give him $1 million. And his dad was tickled too.
Haley, I should have said Mark Williams there, not Michael Williams.
All right. Some of these tool marks that were up in the upper section sanded away. They go away pretty quickly. That's really more grain than anything, but Yeah. Switch back to my top view. Ruby, you were talking about this area right through here where that big knot is. That wood is just fabulous. Just fabulous.
Well, in that kind of an area, what I do is I mix some two-part epoxy that you get at the dollar store with some acrylic paint, and then I fill those cracks in, and then just sand them down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Heather's having a rant.
Oh
Heather's
dear.
having a rant.
Yeah, she did a Metis art show and sale this weekend, free entry. But when she got there, the sign on the door said private event. She still made $165, but it was kind of a waste of time.
Mm, I can imagine.
Hmm. Yeah, I found over the last few years art shows aren't as profitable as they used to be.
Well, when it's supposed to be a public event and you get there and they changed it to a private event, that kind of ruins the whole purpose.
Yeah, you hope that when you go into something like that, you've had proper expectations set and they don't change it on you, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I did a show last December that I was highly disappointed in. They the organizer herself told me one thing and got there and it was sort of what she told me, but not exactly. I wasn't real happy. Did not pay for my day. Um, I didn't have. I think my expenses were $15, so it wasn't expensive, but took a whole day. I could have been doing something else. It would have been a lot more fun. Speaking of which, did everybody have the money on the right horse yesterday?
Well, not me, I don't bet.
I was just thinking the same thing, Wayne.
I don't either.
Now,
But
Mike's saying,
this part of Kentucky, it's like they don't know the Kentucky Derby exists until kind of after the fact. It's strange. All right.
Mike is saying that lichen on the bark looks very copper colored.
Here, let's see if I can. Here we go. Like in there.
Yeah, the little green spots
Oh, the
on
green spots here.
yeah,
Yes,
that's like
that's pretty typical for the lichen that we have here in the U.S. And they do tend to grow on trees like oaks. There we go. See what we can do here. That's running at 405 at the moment, but we'll get that sped up here in a couple of minutes. Get a little more weight out of it. It's still not. It's round, but it's not in balance. There's a heavy side to this blank still, but that'll go away here just momentarily. What was that? I'll figure it
I
out.
heard something click.
Yeah, well, I've got a magnetic tray here on the front, and it may have been. I've got a drill key, chuck key that's sitting there, and that may have been what it was.
Copper owl wood turning. Here we
Hey,
go.
Copper.
Hi,
Hi,
Rob.
Rob.
working back so that I can establish my edge on my rim.
How wet is the wood?
How wet? It's not very. It doesn't seem to be. Let me get my, as much as you can trust a moisture meter. That's saying dead on 17. I go to the bottom. It says 14 there, just under the bark. Well, just under the bark, it says it's soaking wet, but I cannot feel any moisture. That's where I drilled for that original mortise, and that's at 17. Just outside of there, that shows 21. I don't know, Ruby.
Usually I can tell by picking up a handful of shavings and feeling them.
Yeah, well, the shavings feel dry.
Chris has just come in from Bailey's Woodworks.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
And Jennifer's just come in from Crafts and Creations.
Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Jen.
She has been watching from the start, but she can't concentrate on two things at once at the moment.
Okay, I understand.
Don't worry, it gets better with age.
All right, let's see what we got here for rim size. That may be about where I want it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. What is that?
Looks
Half an
like
inch.
a quarter of an inch.
About a quarter.
All right.
About a quarter. There we go.
And Malcolm Douglas had come in saying hello all. Didn't realize you were on tonight.
Welcome, Malcolm.
Paul couldn't make it, and I can't do tomorrow, so I jumped in.
See, that's another area where I would use that roughing gouge.
Right?
You see, I wouldn't. I'd still carry on with it with a gouge.
I just find the rougher is a lot faster. Plus, it saves a lot of wear. I'm not going through 3 or 4 bull gouges a year anymore.
I might test that theory on Wednesday.
I just do it in steps. When I get to about where Doug is now, that's when I would switch back to a bull gouge.
I'm going to be wishing I had my number one hollower here in just a minute.
Yeah, to take the center down.
There we go. If I can get my speed up, I'll be real happy. But I've got to get more of this bulk out of the outside edge before we can do that.
Can you work through the vibration by going faster?
Well, that's the thing. I can't. No, it's I said that. I tried a while ago and it didn't like it at all. Well, that's not any worse. Up to 600
Well,
now.
it actually looks a lot better, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, because this is heavily undercut, that's why I would really like my number one hollower. Get this portion underneath the rim. But alas, it's 80 feet away. And I can't be bothered.
I'd run out and get it for you, Doug, but might take you till next week.
Exactly. Yeah, I've driven it from here to there, and it's not too awful bad, but it does take time. In fact, I had a friend, he and his wife and a friend of theirs had gone to Thailand, I believe it was. And on the way back, they were flying in to Detroit before they flew back to Kentucky. And before they landed in Detroit, he was very, very ill. I don't think they ever did decide what was wrong with him, why he was so ill, but he ended up being septic. Spent almost a month in the hospital there in Detroit. But my wife and I found out about it, and we jumped in the car and drove up there and spent a day and a half with he and his wife there in the hospital, and that's not a bad drive.
Well,
Good.
then you and your wife can drive up and visit me, and I'll gladly teach her how to turn.
You know, Ruby, that's not a bad idea. Not a bad
And
idea.
I have enough lathes here that you can practice on a different one while you're at it.
Right? This is one of those years with two graduations, two military graduations, and a wedding. That's all. That's our travel, and a little bit more. All of our travel money and a little bit more for this year. Well, there goes that sandpaper again. No biggie. I suspect next year she's going to be ready to take a couple of trips. And I can about guarantee you one of them's going to be to the coast.
Which coast?
Probably South Georgia. We got a wild here a couple of years ago and went to St. Simon's Island, which is right across the sound from where I spent two of my growing up years. I lived 2 years on Jekyll Island, Georgia. St. Simon's is a half mile across an inlet to the north. We went and vacationed there and had the best time. The perfect combination of non-commercialized and commercialized that we've ever found. Nice beaches, nice people, good restaurants. Is my shoulder in the way?
Nope.
Nope.
Would it help if you moved your tool rest in a bit?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can get it in there any further or not. I'm just in that awkward. I can go it that way. Maybe that'll help. We'll see. We'll see. See if I can speed it up a little bit.
Dale says he's hoping to save money for Level Up next year.
There you go.
Yeah, I think the only way I'm going to get there is if I win the lottery.
I understand. I think at this point, I'm planning on going, but I think what I'm going to do is load everything up, including a tent, and I'm going to stay there on the premises in a tent.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah. When push comes
Yes,
to
I do.
shove, go ahead.
Chris at Billy's Woodworks is asking if I do play the lottery. Yeah, I do. I know it's pretty pointless, but I still do. And there's me saying earlier on I didn't bet.
Yeah.
Copperell is asking where. If you're talking about the lottery in the UK, Chris has said for me to win the lottery would be a double miracle. And Mike has said it's okay, the lottery is not betting, it's donating.
Yeah, right. Oh my. When they started the lottery here in Kentucky, they sold it to the voters saying how much money was going to go to schools. Well, after a certain amount of time, they had this massive audit, and the audit said,
None
I
of
don't
it
know how
did.
much you were. They said, we don't know how much you meant to go to schools, but there ain't that much going to the schools. The teachers had been saying all along that as soon as they started it, kids were showing up that had been well dressed before, wearing stuff that looked like it came out of a dumpster. The free lunch system was quadrupled, like in the first 2 years. So it didn't quite work out the way they sold it. All right, that should be a little better. What's it look like?
That seems to be the story everywhere.
Yes.
Missouri, Texas, places I've lived.
Right.
What gets me about it, when they sell it to you, they don't say, well, sure, we'll 50%, 45% of that money is going to go to school. What they don't tell you is, since that money's going to the school, the money we were already using for the schools, we'll do something else with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
you're not adding to the school.
Right. That's your state government doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting this now, so we'll cut back on that.
They're trying to figure out how to bring gambling into the Dallas area right now. And being originally from Missouri in the St. Louis area, when the riverboat gambling and stuff came in there 35 years ago or whatever, I was sort of all for it, because I thought, well, shoot, that tax money and whatnot be better off here than Vegas or something. And then you see them start to take the little shuttle buses and stuff to the retirement homes, giving people a free ride and a buffet ticket, and free Wi-Fi so they can access their 401ks. And I thought, well, this isn't a good deal. So
Yappy's just come in.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yappy.
not a big fan of the gambling. Go to
Right.
Vegas if you want it. Leave my state alone.
Yeah, it's yeah, one of the things that was pointed out um, when was it? North Carolina, I guess it was. That well, no, it was here. When they open that stuff up, they've also got to do the like Gamblers Anonymous. So it ends up it's just not a good deal.
I only gambled once. I was on a ski vacation in Vegas, and you had to go through the gambling area to get down to the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody I was with said, "Oh, come on, you've got to at least play 1 or 2 games." So I said, "All right, I've got $10 in quarters. When they're gone, I'm done." Be darned if I didn't win enough money on the first try that it paid for the whole trip.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, isn't it funny how that works sometimes?
And I didn't bet anymore.
Yeah.
And Lucy's asking, how do you bet on the horse racing, etc., in the US?
At the track, they have wagering windows, so you go and you place your bets. You usually buy a program that tells you the history of the horses and what they've done to that point, the conditions that they've won in or not won in. Then you compare that to the conditions of the day. Which for the Derby, it was definitely a muddy track, sloppy track. So you look for the mudders. You can place anything from a $2 bet on up.
His mother was a mutter. His father was a mutter.
That's right.
Some good Seinfeld right there.
Mostly the mutter was a mutter.
You guys.
The Derby, interestingly enough, typically has very few fillies. They're mostly the stallions that are running the Kentucky Derby. The day before, on the Friday, before the Derby, is the Oaks, the Kentucky Oaks. And that's where the fillies tend to run. And a lot of people love to go to that. They say, forget the Derby. It's much more exciting to go to the Oaks, see the fillies run.
Yeah, Todd has said, this is an answer to Lucy, we have track and off-track betting, Lucy. Off-track are locations where racing is not currently going on. And Lucy has said, you don't have betting shops like we do. See, we have betting shops where you can go in and bet on just about anything, any type of sports. You can go in there and they've probably got slot machines and stuff in there as well.
There are some of that in some states, not here in Kentucky. Even though we've got the horses, and that's such a big deal, we don't have a lot of wagering outside of the track.
No, but it's huge over here, Doug. I
Yes,
mean,
right.
one of the biggest, two of the biggest ones. One is William Hill, and the other one is, I think, one of the other biggest ones is Paddy Power. And they are absolutely huge. They've got websites where you can do all your betting and everything. They've got physical shops where you can go in and do your betting as well. And they are usually placed next door to pubs.
Yeah.
You know, so people go and have a drink and then they go in the betting shop and lose the week's wages and stuff like that.
Right. What, they haven't drunk away already?
Coral. Lucy's just put in coral as well. Coral's a big one as well. I don't think I've actually been in a betting shop since I was a teenager, to tell you the truth.
All right, go from the gooseneck to the finisher. Forgot I had it in here.
And Garvis said there's 3 bookmakers within 3 miles of him. There's probably half a dozen Turkish barbers as well.
Goodness gracious.
At one point while I was in the Army, I was stationed not far from Las Vegas.
Oh,
So if we had some free time, we would, and of course this is many years ago. We would go to Vegas to the bigger casinos and sit in their big sports books because they just have hundreds and hundreds of chairs all lined up at these, big screen TVs and stuff. Even 40 years ago, and sit there and be able to watch all of the Sunday football or something, and then drive back
there you go.
to our post.
Right.
And it's a good time.
And I
It's
think I've
not
only
nearly-
ever been in one casino, and that believe it or not, that is in Edinburgh, in Scotland, where I went for a poker night. But that was way back when I used to bet.
Of course, back at the time I was in the Army, and $10 was a lot of money for me.
Yeah.
And I remember there was the Sands Casino, which is long gone, I think. But in the Sands Casino, I was walking down through there, and I saw a guy playing blackjack on a table by himself, and he was playing $15,000 a hand, and he was playing three hands at a time. And I stood there until the casino came and said, "Hey, you need to leave because they try to keep you away from the big spenders and whatnot." But I just stood there the whole time, just like with my jaw was on the ground. I just couldn't believe that somebody could, have that amount of money and just 15 grand a hand, like it was nothing.
Oh me, yes.
Now,
yes.
Mike from Dancers has said, one Christmas I made a £20 drunk bet on Andy Murray to win Wimbledon in the following June. He got 100 to 1 on that, and he won. Nice one.
I should be getting close. I'm trying to get this rim even. Have a nice thickness here and here. It's not that it's thick this way, but I think it's where I need to be. I think it's where
Michael
I need to be.
McEwen has said, many years ago, I headed off to Reno, Nevada with another guy for a conference. Due to unforeseen circumstances, when I got to Reno, I was by myself with $20 in my pocket. And then he said, I was there for a week, ate like a king, smoked the smokes, drank the liquor, and arrived home with $80 in his pocket.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's a win.
I would say so.
Now, for those of you who are curious, this is what Ruby was referring to a while ago, taking the rougher and just doing the roughing work.
Now you do it on the part I'd use the finisher on.
Well, I'm going to come back to the finishing.
I'm so glad you said that, Ruby. I was sitting here thinking, I bet that's not where she would have used it.
No,
Yeah,
I used it when he first started.
But look at he's taking away a ton of wood in there fast.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
It
well,
goes quickly.
The small woodlotter said gambling and lottery are both a money grab for the state and casinos.
Yep.
Unless you're Donald
And
Trump.
more for the casinos than it is for the state in most cases.
And Zed's just come in.
hi,
What's
Zed.
this? A Monday Live? Hello, everyone.
Glad
Good
you made
evening,
it,
Zed.
Zed.
Well, I'm sorry to say, Zed, but you've got about 5 minutes to get in 20 dad jokes.
All right. There's the square one. Now we can come back with the finisher again and get some of the shavings out of there. When they're semi-enclosed like that, they hold some shavings, as you can see.
Yep.
All right, now just blend the sides and the bottom, and
Small woodlot's got to go. See you later.
Pat, you have a good one.
And Paul Hunter has said, I think the gambling advertising in the UK is out of control. Yeah, I think you're right there. But they always put this proviso in that stay in control, stop what you're doing, and things like this. Know your limits.
Know your limits. Keep yourself under control. Yeah, all that fun stuff.
You don't have a curved tool rest, do you, Doug?
I'm sorry?
You don't have a curved tool rest to go
No,
inside?
I don't.
See, I've got a robust curved tool rest, and I cannot get away with it at all. What you can do on this type of turn, and once you've got the sides done, you can actually flip the tool rest so it goes into the bowl with the opposite end, so you can finish the bottom off.
Yeah.
I still got a mass of wood in here. Holy cow, I keep banging stuff. I'm gonna have to clean up so I know what I got on the floor and what's where it belongs.
That's an interesting idea, Wayne, about flipping the tool rest like that, because even with his tool rest angled like that, if you look at where the tool is actually making contact with the tool rest, it's way out there, because you just never get to a point where your tool's over that part that's way inside there. Especially earlier when he was using the gouge, and you're trying to ride that bevel across the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just impossible to get with a straight tool rest to get any support in there.
Yeah, you can only get so close with the straight tool rest. The bar, this round bar tool rest that I've got, this does a little better than a normal traditional tool rest, but even still, you still got limits.
Yeah, Zed said, just get a longer handle.
That helps. trying to take too much wood and it's off the grabby.
Yeah, light cuts.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how long it takes. Take light cuts, like Terry said on Sunday night.
Yes.
Just light cuts.
I just got an email from a club in Michigan letting me know that I overpaid my dues by 3 years.
Oh, there you go.
Is that the same club in Michigan that got you in trouble?
No,
Ugh. I'm still working on it, Ruby.
I appreciate it, Doug.
There we go. That's the cut I've been after this whole time. I'll do it again. I doubt it. Nope.
Ronald Todd has said he has a curved tool rest that extends into the bowl. It makes it so much easier. The thing that I've found with the curved tool rest is that it's actually the part that fits into the banjo that actually restricts what I'm trying to do. Especially when
Yeah.
using a bull gouge.
I've never had one, so I really can't. That little area right there is the area that I'm having a fit with. And I'm thinking if I switch over to the bowl scraper, I may do a little better on it.
It looks punky from here.
It looks it's where it's just a rough cut.
I'll tell you what, is there any way you can turn the tool rest the other way? So the bit that's closest to you goes into the bowl.
Yes and no. There we go.
Yes,
Maybe.
no, you're not getting close enough. Because what I was thinking of was actually getting it closer to the far side away from you, and then turning in reverse to take that punky bit out.
Well, like I said, it's not really punky. It's just a rough cut. I think I can do it from here with my scraper. But I've got to get it. There we go.
Paul is wondering if we're getting close to being funnel adjacent, I believe. Looks pretty close to the bottom, he said.
Actually, we're not. I've got a good ½ inch in the bottom still. Ooh, no. Come on. There we go. We're up to 815 now.
Todd is asking, does turning in reverse put the wood back on? Funnily enough, Ernie Conover did a video a lot of years ago about turning in reverse, and that's what actually happened when he was doing that video. He put all the wood back into the bowl.
At least in the video, huh?
At least in the video, yeah.
Yeah. Who was it? Somebody a little more recently did that, and I made mention on it that was my least favorite kind of video. You know, just kind of poking fun. And whoever it was, they thought I meant it.
Now, Zed says you have to know when to stop or it will start growing branches and leaves too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know when to stop. You have to know when to clean up as well. I had a load of sawdust sitting around the bottom of my bandsaw, and I did put photographs out of this. I ended up with 2 oak trees grown out of the sawdust.
Oh my
Oh
word.
dear.
There we go. I think I've got what I'm after. Take a peek at that. We may just hit it with some sandpaper and goodness gracious.
When in doubt, put that big thick scraper in there, huh?
We're a little bit high in that center still. Yeah. I bought this scraper years and years ago. Used it about 3 times and just put it away until recently.
Have you turned it into a negative rake, or is it still just an ordinary scraper?
No, it's still an ordinary scraper.
I like that tool. It's a Sorby, I believe.
This one is a crown.
Crown? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My Sorby's a little thicker than that.
Can almost see the label there.
Yeah, I have the Sorby one and I use it quite often. It does a good job.
Yeah, I go through spells where I can't sharpen it for beans. And then like the other day, I didn't like the way the grind looked on it, so I had it on the grinder for a while, and it got it reasonably sharp. So I'm happy with it again for now. Okay. Here we are, an hour 20 into it.
I didn't
Sanded
even
the
notice the
outside, but
time.
we haven't. Yeah. I've got some rough stuff right there in the side grain. End grain's what I would expect. But I'll start with 80 grit sanding and work it down. I'll show you just a little bit of it. Oh, there we go.
Hey Todd, are you doing anything on Wednesday afternoon?
You talking to me?
Yep.
Not that I know of.
Do you fancy coming into E-Worm?
Absolutely.
Yeah, no bother, no bother. I'll add you to the group and send the link out. I haven't set the link up yet.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Zed's saying that's the kind of bowl his mom would have next to her chair full of balls of yarn. It's got that shape.
I like this shape a lot. I like the closed shape of this this bowl with that low cut on one side and the way taller wing on the other.
Yep.
I think it's going to look really cool sitting on a tabletop.
Yeah, and if anyone wanted to make something like this and turn it into a yarn bowl, you don't have to put the J-cut in. All you need to do is drill a hole in the high side.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's the way the Mark Becker, the gentleman woodturner, whenever he does the yarn bowl, he doesn't do a J-cut. All he does is drill a hole in one of the sides of the bowl for putting the yarn through.
That seems to be a of the opinion of the user. Some like just a hole, some like a J-hook. So
I wasn't going to say anything earlier, but because I didn't want to jinx it while you were still cutting. But looks like you kept all your bark, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, the bark was on here pretty tight.
So will you do something to try to stabilize that bark other than just like what are you putting on right now? Is that a sanding sealer?
This is some walnut oil.
Walnut oil.
I just wanted to give let you see the grain a little bit before we sign off. And it's not because of that wild edge. It's not.
Stick
It wants
the oil.
to fight the
That's
paper.
better, Doug. Stick it on when it's stationary.
Yep.
Lucy, the wood is oak. This was a tree that was brought down by Hurricane Helene.
This is a big storm that we had. This tree was actually in North Carolina. Was taken down. There we go. Now you can see that beautiful grain in there. It's just a lovely tree. And what I'll do is I will come back, do a little bit more sanding. And Todd, you alluded to it. I will go around the edge of this bark with my thin CA. In fact, what I'll do is put some sanding sealer, at least on the top portion, put some CA on the edge of the bark, inside and out. I'll give it another sanding to get rid of any excess CA. And then I'll probably go ahead with the walnut oil and just let the natural beauty show.
Now, Mike from Dancers has said, if you put a treble clef instead of a J cut, I've heard you can play a tune with your crochet hook.
Or maybe a bass clef instead of a treble. Or my son started off in grade school. He was playing the viola, and it's in a tenor clef. I had never heard of a tenor clef until he came home and told me that. And he hated the viola because the tenor clef is just weird, he says.
The heart of the orchestra, the viola.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he liked the instrument. He didn't like he would memorize the music and never look at it after the first day. So his teacher, that was her only complaint, that he wouldn't learn how to read the music. He'd memorize it by listening and then was done with it.
Now, Zed said he's always wanted to make a diddly bow with a wood turned body.
You know, this thing is still, the heavy part is down. It's definitely off center still, out of balance, not off center, but.
No, that's the only reason that's happening is that there is one side of the wood heavier than the other.
Yes, exactly.
That's what happens with wood.
Yep. Yeah, my walls are pretty even, all the way down. I could take just a touch more out of the bottom if I wanted to, but not much, 1/8 of an inch maybe. But I'm pretty even all the way. Just feeling it. It feels pretty even all the way down. So I'm happy.
That's what counts.
There you go. Like I said, I'll get that finished up. I'll get it. I'll get the bark glued on just for safety's sake. It's on there tight. It's not loose anywhere. But like I said, just for safety's sake, I'll put some glue around the edge of this bark all the way around, inside and out. And then I'll sand it again. And then we'll coat the whole thing really well with walnut oil. All right. Well, folks, it's been good. It's been a blast having you with me today.
Yeah, lots of nice comments coming through, Doug.
Well, thank you, everyone. I do appreciate it. And I will be going back and looking through all this. Dale, I hope I helped you out with that question earlier today. Dale had an issue with an easy wood tool. I hope I was able to help him out. Thank you, Copper. Spun by Green Jeans. Thank you. All of you. Paul, Michael, all of you. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you. You don't know how much I appreciate you. Was watching a video a while ago, and the lady says, my analytics tell me that about 60% of you are not subscribed. I think most all of you all are subscribed,
If you're not, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. Hit the like button on your way out. And if you would, come back in after this is done, and just a brief comment in the comment section will help me out tremendously. I can't tell you how much that helps, but it really, really does. So, and visit other people's channels. You see all these people in the chat, especially people with pictures or logos of different kinds. Most of them have channels as well. Jump on there, join their channels as well. So, Ruby, Wayne, Todd, thank you guys. Appreciate you being here with us. Thank all of you in the chat. It's been a good day. We're going to say good night.
Good night.
Thanks, Doug.